All right. Hey, welcome to the Morning Report. This is a real test case here. We've been doing it on Facebook and on Periscope, but first attempt here on YouTube to try this out. Anyway, so we'll keep it as brief as possible. Just quickly, Final Four, great weekend for basketball fanatics. A Final Four that none of us predicted. Well, I'm not going to say none of us. Somebody out there may have gotten this right, but with South Carolina in the mix, I would say the odds were probably pretty infinitesimal. North Carolina, Gonzaga, not surprising that they got there. Congratulations to Gonzaga for their first Final Four. Congratulations to South Carolina for their first Final Four. And then Oregon also in the mix. They won the championship, I believe, in 1939 and hadn't been back to this level. So this is a big deal for them as well. So lots of great storylines. It'll be a lot of great basketball this coming weekend. So stay tuned, and we'll see whether or not we get any more upsets. But I guess at this point I'm going to call for kind of a more traditional Gonzaga, North Carolina, top seed face-off, and then maybe North Carolina winning it all. But that would pain me. If Gonzaga wins it all, I wouldn't have a big problem. But I don't really have a dog in this fight, so I don't have a real strong preference one way or the other. The news since over the weekend, last Friday, Speaker Paul Ryan pulled for a second day in a row and basically declared dead the Republican replacement plan for repealing replacing Obamacare. This plan was doomed to fail. We could see it by Thursday. The votes weren't there. By Friday, the situation really didn't improve any, and so it's now dead, and Ryan has said that Obamacare is the law of the land. Now, that doesn't mean that Republicans won't try something later, but they really tried to rush this through. This may be the president's fault for trying to push this part of the agenda through so quickly and get health care back on track. To where it needs to be kind of in the pre-Obamacare era, but lots of backlash, negative, media coverage, which was expected. Just a lot of confluence of factors. The House Freedom Caucus, made up of die-hard conservatives who were not willing to go along with this Obamacare light plan, really, and so. One of the results, too, is that the media is dancing all over President Trump. Democrats are generally pretty gleeful, but I think they're missing the point that this is a defeat for Trump at this stage. It's a mistake of trying to push this through, but this isn't going to really hurt his presidency right now. He's got lots of other things he can move on to. Hopefully tax reform will be high on the list, and we'll just move on and maybe address this at a later date when they can really get together and figure this out and come up with a really good plan. I mean, if you promise to repeal and replace, then repeal and replace. Do not give us Obama light and call that repeal and replace. Sorry, it's just not going to go over, and conservatives rebelled, and rightfully so. President Trump tweeted that people should be watching Judge Jeanine Pirro's show on Fox News the other night, and her big deal was excoriating Speaker Ryan and calling him for his resignation as the Speaker of the House. Why do I get the feeling I'm in a little bit of deja vu with Ryan and just like with Speaker Boehner? Republicans, they lived with the Speaker. They dealt with it. Conservatives, dealt with it until they just couldn't take it anymore. Paul Ryan kind of got in there. This was not like John Boehner when Boehner really aspired to this position. I don't think Ryan really did. I think he preferred being his wonky self and working on budgetary matters and things like that, where he really shined well, trying to cajole his majority, his congressional group there to support this bill. That was going to be a long, tough road ahead, a tough haul, and he wasn't able to do it. But I just remember that in 2012, it seemed like conservatives really loved Paul Ryan, joined the Romney ticket, providing a conservative balance to the ticket. People didn't think that Romney was conservative enough. And now Ryan is firmly, stamped with an establishment label and hated by the hardcore conservatives. So lots can change in a very short period of time with regard to that. Senator Bernie Sanders is using this opportunity to not just blast Obamacare for its higher premiums and other flaws, and then also the Republican program for it was a disaster, but now to use that as a wedge to call for single payer, that is the answer, the solution to all the healthcare woes, which those of us that are free market know that is not the case. That is not going to work, and that's going to just make things worse for us in the long run. So anyway, healthcare, big nut to crack. We'll have to see how that goes. Finally, Ted Koppel and Sean Hannity kind of got into a little bit with an interview where Koppel was talking about news and fake news and all these other type of things, reporters, and Hannity asked whether or not Koppel thought that Hannity was bad for America, and Koppel said, yeah. So, we knew that Ted was not a conservative by any stretch of imagination, and Hannity definitely has been in the tank for Trump long before most people were in the tank for Trump. And I think that's the major rub here, is just that you have lots of liberal media people just can't handle the way the news is being covered, and they're doing their best to give it the anti-Trump and to offset the pro-Trump, and they're not having as much success as they wish they'd had. The president's going to be just fine. I think he understands you can't win every battle, and then some of these battles needed to be fleshed out a little bit better. So anyway, that is it for this edition of the Morning Report. Hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow as we do another one here as we lead up to the podcast this week. So thanks a lot. We'll see you later.